Welcome into a live edition of the KC Laboratory presented by Emprise Bank. Member FDIC, our amazing partners in Possible here at KC Sports Network. Kent Swanson here with Matthew Lane on a Monday. Matty, how we doing?
Well, let's see. I thought Craig was going to be here, and so I'm a little disappointed. That's sad. Listen, I'm doing pretty well. We're locked in. We got NBA free agency happening. NBA is a wild league. There is so many just random things that happen in the NBA. Being an NFL guy, trying to follow another sports free agency process and cap thing is it's a journey. But no, we're doing good. We're doing swell. We're hanging out. We're getting overwhelmed by the amount of messages in our Dynasty Startup Fantasy League group chat, which I haven't checked it for 2 days, and I have like 300 some odd messages debating restaurants.
Yeah, let me fill you in. Let me just ask you the two very important questions. If you had to pick between Applebee's, Chili's, or Cheddar's, what are you?
No. Who gave us these options?
Jake. Applebee's, Chili's, or Cheddar's? Pick.
Not Chili's.
Where's this going? Pick one.
I don't know. I've never stepped foot inside of a Cheddar's. I haven't eaten at a Chili's for 2+ decades for good reason. And the only reason I've eaten Applebee's is because I lived close to one when they started doing like the 2 for $20 or whatever menu thing. So like, I guess Applebee's, but I don't really want to go to Applebee's either.
We're going to go to Cheddar's sometime. Because the answer is Cheddar's. And
Why?
Cheddar's is actually fresh food. Like it's scratch kitchen, and like Chili's and Applebee's are decidedly not. They're basically just the Hy-Vee frozen food aisle.
Correct.
And Cheddar's is not that. Cheddar's is definitely not that. So
no, but based on your sales pitch, then sure, let's go to Cheddar's. I've never been in one. I'm confused though. Why a Kansas City, Kansas, Missouri central thing has not offered up 54th Street to me?
Yeah, I feel like 54th is very regional because these are like more national chains than they are like, I think 54th Street and Cheddar's would compete for me personally. Like I think both of those are pretty good. Okay, here's the other important question. Is Texas Roadhouse a steakhouse?
No.
And why?
Because it's just a restaurant. It's just like any other chain restaurant. It's not a steakhouse. Like there's a certain level of quality. When I say I'm going to a steakhouse, I'm expecting a certain level of quality. Not just cut of meat, but like quality of the cut of the meat. You're probably spending a little bit more. I'm not getting a Texas Roadhouse steak at a steakhouse. Outback, not a steakhouse.
Is Longhorn a steakhouse?
No, you were.
What is Longhorn then?
A restaurant. It's just a chain restaurant, just a generic chain restaurant that somebody from I don't even know where has decided like, oh yeah, that's a good steak. No, it's not. No, it's not.
I think the funny thing is so Jake put the poll up. He's like mid-level chain steakhouses, and the options were Longhorn, Roadhouse, and Outback. And you just got done eviscerating Outback before I could even ask you.
Right. And so I think the key there, though, is like calling them like a mid-level chain steakhouse. Like, I guess that covers your bases, but like those are definitely just like mid-level chain restaurants. Those aren't steakhouses.
When I see when you go to a Longhorn, how many people do you see actually eating a steak? Or not a Longhorn. When you go to Roadhouse, how many people are actually eating a steak though? You know what I'm saying? Like that's my thing.
I haven't been a lot, but like if I go to Roadhouse, I get a steak. If I go there, I'm going to order a steak. But I'm really going there for like the honey butter rolls or whatever if I've ever been there.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a roll house.
I'm fine with that. All right. Better roll house. Lambert's or Texas Roadhouse?
Never heard of Lambert's. What are you saying?
You never been to Lambert's?
I've never heard of Lambert's. I have at least heard of Cheddar's. Never been, but I've heard of it. I've never heard of Lambert's.
Okay, Lambert's is this restaurant down in Springfield, Ozark area, and it's the home of the Throne Rolls, or Throwed Rolls, I think is their technical term. So it's this restaurant. They give you like an entree, And then all of their side dishes are just in these giant tubs, and they just come and just give you scoops of them when you ask for them. Like
I might have been there. Okay, now that you explain this, I might have been there when I was young because it sounds vaguely familiar. And who I was with when I'm like kind of having a memory would have been like in the Lake of the Ozarks area. So there's a chance that I've been there when I was even younger than I am now, but I don't recall anything about it.
They used to throw rolls literally across across the room. Like you could ask one and be like, "Garçon," and they would just chuck one like 50 good 15 yards. They stopped doing it. They stopped throwing them really, and it's more like a light toss.
That's why.
It's like Joe Burrow arm talent. There's gonna be a lot of Joe Burrow conversation in
that's
this.
That's why Missouri and Kansas football can't win the big game because they don't let Lamberts throw them rolls anymore. Honestly,
Sykeston has one. There's one in Ozark, Missouri. Been to that one. Maybe there's one in Sykeston as well. I guess someone said throwed rolls in a 2-tooth minimum. Says Conky Joe.
Okay, I get that too. Yeah, okay.
I'm going down to the Ozarks here in a couple weeks. I can't wait. Actually, I'm going to. It's more. I'm going to Big Cedar for a golf bachelor party. Pretty excited about that.
That sounds like fun. Yeah. So no, yeah, I'm with you. I don't call those steakhouses. If I'm going steakhouse, we're thinking like Ruth's Chris, Fleming. I'm just trying to think of like just like basic level. Base level, like entry level steakhouses that you can find in most places, but there's a certain level of quality. I definitely would not call any of the restaurants we have now mentioned steakhouses.
Well, you should just drop your opinion in there.
If you can order chicken fingers as a dish at a restaurant, it's not a steakhouse.
You can do that at Ruth's Chris.
There's no chance.
I promise you, they have an adult chicken finger meal at Ruth's Chris in J. Alexander's.
Sorry, Ruth Chris, you're off the steakhouse list.
You're probably gonna have a hard time finding places that don't. If I'm gonna be honest with you,
I don't know.
They're definitely not of the chain variety, which is like
there's no way you can order chicken fingers. Let's find out. Can you order chicken fingers?
Well, I'm going to continue the show while you Google that. Thanks everyone for hanging out with us tonight. We really appreciate you, and that has been Food Talk from the Startup Dynasty League group chat with Kent and Maddie. And we are very excited to not do that anymore the rest of the show. We're going to talk some football. We have a few things on the ledger today. We are going to do our lessons learned from week 2 against the Cincinnati Fraud Goals. Quite an interesting game that was. And then
I have breaking news. You cannot, at least at the Ruth's Chris near you cannot order chicken fingers. It is not on the menu.
Okay. Well, good for them. That's good.
Yeah. Steakhouse.
Have you been to Jess and Jim's Steakhouse in Kansas City?
I don't think so.
Ooh. Very good. Can also get chicken fingers. I wouldn't know that, but I wouldn't order those. Not me. I get steaks at steakhouse. That sounds you guys don't need to dunk on me for that one. I actually get steak at steakhouses. Legitimate steakhouses.
What kind of cut? What are you going for? What's the go-to cut?
I love a fillet. I love a ribeye.
But the go-to.
Yeah.
Like what do you want going in?
Probably a strip. Probably a strip or a fillet. A bacon wrap fillet, pretty good.
Of course, what about you? Bacon on there.
You like probably like 6 porterhouses.
biggest ribeye you got kind of guy.
Yeah, that checks out.
Cowboy if they got it. Give me the bone.
Do you eat the fat? Like, do you eat the chunks of fat on the side?
At a good steakhouse that has well-proportioned and well-marbled ribeye, yeah, I have no problems eating the fat. You go to one of these fake ones that might give you a blob of really bad cut of meat, and there's just a chunk of fat in there. No, absolutely not. You chewed on that thing like it's a roll thrown across the room and rolled across the floor for a minute.
My brother will just eat chunks of fat off of his steaks, and I can't.
If it's well cooked. Little char on the side, little char on it. Pretty good.
I can do some like brisket fat, if it's been smoked and rendered down pretty good. What's a Pittsburgh ribeye? That's
a good question.
Conky Joe asks, what's a Pittsburgh ribeye?
Is it kind of like Skyline chili? It's just a ribeye blended up and poured in like a soup.
No. No. I'm out. I don't want to know what a Pittsburgh.
Steak cooked to be well charred on the outside and very rare in the middle. So it's like as what this quickly says.
This looks terrible. Not gonna lie.
Did you say this looks terrible? Okay. Next
Some
question.
of these pictures are gross, man.
This is great. We're 10 minutes in and we're still talking steaks. How do you get your steak cooked?
Medium. Maybe medium rare, depending on how I'm feeling. It's a medium or a medium rare. What did you judge? You're judging me for not going medium rare right out the gate, I have a feeling.
Yeah. I think, I am.
I'm kind of like in between. Just depends on the cut, too.
I think going strip medium right off the rip is
strip's probably medium rare. Strip's probably medium rare. Ribeye probably medium for me, actually. Filet depends. Medium rare probably. What's your take on prime rib, Maddie?
Fine, not my favorite, but like I'll happily eat it.
Love a good prime rib.
It's good. It's just it's not like it's not my top tier.
All right, back to this Chiefs Bengals game. Week 2. We've been going through lessons learned. Speaking of cooked, Kingsley Suamata-Ia's left tackle.
Oh God, I was going positive. Look at you.
What's there to be positive about?
I was going to talk about Cam Taylor-Britt and Rashee Rice, but you just came right into Kingsley's throat. Shoo, boy.
Well, I watched one of these sacks where he's doing karaoke into Patrick Mahomes, and it's just like, yeah, that was tough. There was some good stuff, specifically outside receiver Rashee Rice there. But yeah, 26-25 victory for the Kansas City Chiefs in week 2 of the season, putting the Bengals to 0-2. And that's always delicious. And watching them cope, watching them melt down, watching Jamar Chase melt down, all kinds of delicious things from this game. Even though, there was certainly some stuff that reared its ugly head the rest of the year too. What are your thoughts on that game, Maddie?
Okay. My biggest takeaway from that game is there is no reason that Trent McDuffie should be as good against Jamar Chase as he is and as bad against AJ Brown as he is. I understand the two wide receivers are a little different. AJ Brown is even more physical of a player than Jamar Chase is, but we're still talking like in the same general like archetype of wide receiver. And Trent McDuffie really struggles with AJ Brown. He has twice now when they've played against them. He just really struggles with that matchup. Whereas against Jamar Chase, outside, inside, after the catch, at the catch point, he was really, really darn good. And so I think I got back and my take is, okay, one, maybe Jamar Chase needs to be more physical with McDuffie and not just focus on trying to create separation and maybe he'd have better success. But I also feel like McDuffie being allowed to move around at the point, like he was at the point of this game, being able to play in the slot and outside and just do a little bit more than just stationary. You're doing this one thing. I think not only led to him playing better because he was being used better, but in his confidence. It kind of feels like he was a guy playing more confidently, playing a little bit more aggressive now that he was asked to do all this different stuff. So he was feeding off of his own success from moving around the formation, moving around the field, blitzing, making plays versus the run. Whereas it almost feels like when you just kind of set him off and to play outside corner, yeah, he's good at it and he's locked into his world there. But I can almost feel, I don't want to say confidence wavering, but he doesn't play with the same level of, I don't even know, swagger that he does when he's allowed to move around. So it was a stark difference going back. And obviously that Eagles game wasn't the last one that we watched or anything, but just thinking about how that matchup or some of the matchups with Cortland Sutton went and then AJ Brown went and then how it went against Jamar Chase and how great he was in this game. It was just a stark difference to me.
I think any time that, McDuffie, can be stop and start with a receiver, like Jamar Chase will get to the top of the route and he'll have a two-way go. He'll have some options at his disposal. He's making sharp breaks and he's, you're right. You're trying to create separation, like with an AJ and with the Sutton. I don't feel like they're trying to get their feet stopped at the top of a route. They're trying to run through. They're trying to round things out. They're trying to build up. And it's like maybe that's a little bit of the difference between what you're seeing with Trent McDuffie and what, against those guys and what you're seeing with Jamar. And like, you're right. Like, I think getting to run around and chase and follow Chase, like, helps him kind of get into a position where he gets to do more of that, right? He gets to react to breaks. He gets to, get to the top of a route with them and react and all that kind of stuff. Whereas like if you're just an outside receiver sitting out there and it's a vertical plane and it's linear and it's not these sharp breaks like Brown and Sutton really don't have in their bag compared to Jamar Chase, maybe that is kind of the separation between the two. So, but yeah, no, Trent McDuffie, like it was amazing. And it was so funny to watch Jamar melt down because of how good Trent McDuffie was. Like that is one of the more satisfying moments of that season, was watching him just completely own Jamar Chase during that game, to the point where he got a personal foul penalty late in the fourth quarter.
Yeah, he was eating them alive. And like, yeah, and I think you have a good point there, is like with Brown or Sutton or some other big wide receivers, they just kind of know that they're not going to be able to create separation, whereas Jamar Chase still can. And so maybe they just don't try and they lean on the physicality. And I don't mean to say AJ Brown doesn't separate. It's just he's not going to explode out of a quick, tight break the same way Jamar Chase can. And so maybe the fact that he knows that and he just opts in for 100% physicality, whereas Chase tries to play straddle the line a little bit. And that just allows McDuffie to essentially sit there in the pocket and stay right attached to his hip coming out of it. So I don't know, but it was one of the best cornerback games you're going to see across the board, from the tackling, the play on the ball, and everything like that. And so I think that was my biggest takeaway from this is, people have kind of said, and I've said it too, Trent McDuffie's a good corner, a great corner on the outside, but there's a different level to how he can play in the slot. Maybe it's not even just in the slot. Maybe it's just the ability to move around, just doing different things, allowing him not just to go play boundary corner seemed to really elevate his game, because there was times he was on the outside versus Chase and had no issues. So there is still, cornerback one in the NFL now that Jalen Ramsey, one, is traded, and then two, on the downside of his career, like, yeah, Patrick Surtain probably has a pretty good grip on the best corner in the league. Derek Stingley's coming for it. Sauce Gardner's still there. But like, there is a very clear path for Trent McDuffie to be right there in that conversation with all those guys. And I think if you can build on like what he did in this game, that's how you get there.
Cam Taylor-Britt got cooked a little bit on the outside, and also had one of the better interceptions of the season as well. Basically trying to throw the same thing.
True Pittsburgh ribeye.
True Pittsburgh ribeye right there. Gets they try the vertical passing game, to Xavier Worthy on an outside release vertical, and Cam Taylor-Britt comes down with it, but also got absolutely torched by Rashee Rice on a 44-yard reception, and a big explosive play down the field outside the numbers. Like, that's one of the plays you point to. Like, if Rashee's going to play a little bit out there, you're hoping that he's going to be able to do some stuff like that. If he's going to be lined up out there and playing a little bit of X.
Yeah. So that's one of the plays from early in the year that you would like fall back on and say, hey, here is something that Rashee Rice can do on the outside. I think even if we go back and look at Cam Taylor-Britt's interception when they threw to Xavier Worthy, I think Rashee Rice ran a mirrored route on the other side of the field and actually got a little bit of separation going downfield. Now, if I'm not mistaken, at least that one, I don't know about the touchdown. I can't remember now. Wasn't that from a condensed split? And so maybe that is one way that you also protect these outside wide receivers, right? You're not lined up right there on the numbers. You're a little bit inside. You give yourself a little bit more of a two-way go, kind of like you get in the slot. And there's benefits to that. There's also some downsides, but with the way the Chiefs offense works, maybe that is something that they can lean into to get by without having a true X wide receiver. And this is a game that was there. This is another game where Rashee Rice was having, a very good football game. The offense was, I don't want to say funneling entirely through him, but he was playing off of Travis Kelce very well. The Chiefs were getting him involved. And so this was the start of it. The following week against the Falcons, they really leaned into it. Like, Rashee Rice, if he's healthy, he is in for a year.
Feels like, and like, I think tempered expectations for all these guys coming back a little bit, right? For me, and like same with Simmons, like, you're trying not to get too excited about Josh Simmons. I'm trying not to get too excited about Rashee Rice and his progress too. And, maybe a little bit of that is some of the legal stuff that's kind of sitting over his head a little bit too. Like, there might be some of that kind of happening as well. But I just cautiously optimistic that, he's going to be able to have a full complete season in Kansas City in 2025 and kind of continue the trajectory that he was on in 2024, which was looking like being one of the best and statistically best receivers in the National Football League last year. And they really could have used him. He could have used him there. I made the joke earlier. This was a stark reminder yet again of the Chiefs left tackle woes. And they happened yet again in this game, which was like one of the first major signs. Like this was the last time we saw Kingsley at tackle, if I remember.
This is the last time we saw him play until the
week.
Well, no,
18,
that's
baby.
not fair. That's not fair. He was the 6th offensive lineman a few times.
That's a good point. I remember Wanya Moore, like, didn't, yeah, I mean, you know, Wanya Morris catches a touchdown in this game and then also plays left tackle in this game off the bench. Like,
well, and it's crazy because, like, if you go back and watch, Kingsley was not great. But then you go look at the stats, and like the stats only say, oh, he gave up 4 pressures on like 30 pass pro reps or something. It's like that just doesn't mesh with what you saw. It's like the Chiefs' offense couldn't function. I was just looking at it because I had to go check because I wrote it down when I was watching the offense, Rashee Rice or nothing. So I go and look. Guess who the second leading receiver for this game was?
I know. I have the stats in front of me right now.
You do? Justin Watson was the second leading receiver in this game with 22 yards. Number 3 was Isaiah Pacheco with 21 yards. This offense couldn't do anything in this game. And when you go watch, it was because they couldn't play. They couldn't run an offense because their left tackle play. And the stats aren't going to bear it out. And so, like, that is something that I always come back to. But, like, this was a sign that the offense maybe wasn't in the best spot. This game is also why you had to make the switch to Morris. I know a lot of people have had some reservations of, oh, Josh Simmons is getting all this extra help heading into the year that Kingsley didn't get. Like, I don't think that Kingsley didn't necessarily get help. They didn't have help available with Morris's injury, with Donovan Smith, or other veterans not being available at all because they were injured to come in and play. It wasn't that they didn't want to help Kingsley. They just had to play him. And when he played, this game was like they couldn't do this. They couldn't do this again. Their offense quite simply couldn't function. So this game was kind of like, hey, here's a reminder on why the left tackle position did the musical chairs game throughout the year.
Jared Wiley had more receiving yards than Travis Kelce in this game. Wild stat. Before we move on, anything else about this game that you wanted to bring up?
No, I think that's really all that I had from this game is the big Trent McDuffie thing, and then like nothing could work offensively. We touched a little bit. Yeah. I mean, do you have anything else that stood out to you?
No, just funny to watch Jamar meltdown. That was pretty awesome. And Trent McDuffie.
Once again, Big Lou gives the Chiefs absolute hell, and then the Prodigal's like, we don't need him going forward. I understand there were some other flaws and issues with what he had going on, but boy, that guy could coach against the Chiefs very, very well. So the next time these two teams play and the Chiefs drop like 90 on them, that Big Lou's going to be smiling ear to ear.
Tucker is not here tonight, except for in the chat group, the chat on YouTube, which is amazing. He did pre-record the Wheel of Games so we can find out what game Craig and Maddie are watching on Wednesday. Apparently, my schedule has decided to just be completely full on Wednesdays now that Craig's here. So, like,
no.
I'm super. Craig comes back, I sob, and now I can't even do shows with him. Like,
because you cried because he was trying to take your spot.
I guess. Anyways, we got a video, so let's find out what game we're watching here. Please be week 18. Please be week 18. Please be week 18.
Week 18.
It is week 15.
That's a game for Craig, though. That's a good game for Craig because that's like 90 turnovers. This game catapulted the Chiefs from 28th in the NFL in forced turnovers to like 12th. This game by itself.
I forgot about that. Yeah, because Jameis what?
I remember during the week, he threw 2 interceptions. I think the backup threw another 1 or 2, and then they had a fumble or something. It was a lot. But I remember the week before, that was one of my big things on our show was like, hey, the Chiefs defense isn't creating any turnovers. And like, they're good, but they're not good enough to be this kind of defense that doesn't create turnovers. And then by the very next week, they had like jumped half the league in turnovers forced because of this game.
Yeah. The quick Googling has it at 6 turnovers on the day. Golly. Nick Chubb fumbled in that game too.
Oh man.
We'll get there. Oh
yeah, T. Smith. You might be right. This was the McDuffie interception game.
Didn't we call that on the show too?
Well, I think everybody called that.
I think we might have said
there was only one chance for Trent McDuffie to get interception would be against Jameis Winston. If it didn't happen in that game, it was never happening.
Ooh. No, we won't get into that. We'll save it all for you guys for conversation on Wednesday.
We don't want your takes.
What are you doing for the 4th of July?
We're going down to South Carolina to the in-laws. We're gonna go hang out on the beach, go out on the boat a little bit. Gonna leave the kids down there for the following week, and they're gonna be dropped back off the week after. Well, 2 of the 3 kids. The youngest will be back here with me, so gonna be at least like childless for the next week. Sure, my honey to-do list is about 40 miles long.
Are you doing a show? Are you doing a show from there?
Oh, that's what you're asking. I'll be back on Monday for the lab. So
No, I'm talking about Wednesday. Like, are you
Wednesday?
driving
No.
down? Are you driving down?
No,
like
we're not
Thursday.
Friday. We're not leaving until Friday.
Oh, okay. Good for you.
Craig doesn't get humidity-haired Matt. Sorry, I saved that just for you.
Do love humidity-haired Matt. I'm driving to Michigan on Wednesday, so yep, going up to Michigan.
Actually, you're probably going the right way for the summertime. To be honest, people are gonna get mad at us for once again being derailed by.
Well, we'll take a break and then we'll talk football right after this.
Yeah, that's right.
Looking for tickets for your next event? Tickets for Less is your #1 source. Save big on every purchase when you use promo code KCSN at ticketsforless.com.
I'm BJ Kissel, founder and CEO of KC Sports Network. Emprise Bank has been with us from the beginning. They were our first network partner, and they believed in the vision of what we were building from the start. I can't speak to any other banks or companies and how they operate, but I can tell you from personal experience and based on the growth of the network you're listening to right now, that if you have banking needs, call our friends at Emprise Bank. We've worked with so many great people there over the years, from Vicky and Aggie to Andrea, Lori, Jackie, Deb, and Aaron, and not to mention so many others that not just supported KC Sports Network, but supported our KCSN Foundation as well. But the best thing that I know is that if I have a question or a problem, no matter how dumb the question is, I know who I'm going to call and who I'm going to talk to. And I know that I'm getting an answer from someone that I can trust. And I know that person is there to help us. That's why Emprise Bank has always been and continues to be our partner in Possible. And they can be yours too. You just have to reach out. If you have a banking need, whether it's business or personal, hit me up. I will connect you directly with the same people that have helped us build KCSN. And that's our friends at Emprise Bank.
Folks, there's nothing that beats relaxing on a hot summer day and watching some baseball. And there's no simpler way to get in on the action than by downloading the Pick 6 app from DraftKings. It's crazy simple. Just pick more or less on the stats for 2 or more of your favorite players, and boom, you're in the mix for big cash prizes. And the best part, Pick 6 is available right here in Missouri. Don't miss out on the fun. Don't settle for a smaller payout. Switch to Pick 6, and right now, new customers can get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Here's what you got to do. Download the DraftKings Pick 6 app now and use code KCSN. That's code KCSN for new customers to get $25 in bonus picks with their first deposit of $5. Better payouts, bigger wins, only with Pick 6 from DraftKings. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Must be 18 plus. Age and eligibility restrictions vary by jurisdiction. Void where prohibited. New customers only. Minimum $5 deposit. Bonus picks expire 168 hours after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see pick6.draftkings.com/promos.
Thanks everyone hanging out with us tonight on a Monday. The last day of June is when we are going live here. So appreciate you listening. If you're in July right now, thank you all so much for your support of KC Sports Network. We've been doing the lessons learned series, and last week Maddie began another series with Craig. Why don't you just kind of set the stage for what we're doing here today, Matthew?
Yeah, I wait till you're not here. Then I introduce new segments that you can't say no to. Yep. And that way I pigeon, and then I make sure they're multi-week things so I can pigeonhole them onto the. I like that. That way I can pigeonhole them. Yeah, all summer. That's what we do. So we are ranking the positions in the NFL. It's that time of year. It's summertime. Everybody wants to get their positional rankings off. We figured we would do the same. Now, obviously, still a Chiefs podcast. We'll spin it to the Chiefs. If the Chiefs are in the top 10, we'll talk about how they get there, how close they are. If they are in the top 10, talk about what could move or shake, for them to move up and down, and what a yada, yada, yada. So last week, Craig and I were ambitious, and we wanted to do 2 positions. No chance were we getting through 2 positions. We got through 1, and we said, yeah, we're at 60. We got to call it. So this week, it was 1 position. It was your choice, Kent. We did defensive end last week, probably pretty predictable for Craig and I, and we knew what today was going to be, but I still politely asked you, and you said, I want to do quarterbacks and nothing else. And so
Yep.
here we are. We are ready to rank our quarterbacks. Now, how we do this, Kent, we're going to go 10-1. Okay. And I haven't told you this, so hopefully you're prepared. You're going to give it to me like kind of in tiers. There's no strict limits to your tiers. Okay. Right. So you're just going to give me 10 through whatever. And you're going to say, hey, this group's kind of even. And then we'll stop and talk about it. I'll do the same for my, tier 10 to whatever. And then we'll kind of work our way to get to number 1.
I specifically did not want to do tiers.
Yeah. Well, we are. It's not good. It's not a good show to just read 10-1 or to go back and forth. Here's your 10, here's my 10, and then all the way through. You know what I mean? So like, I want you to give me a chunk of guys that you think are about equal. All these guys are interchangeable, but this is, they're in your top 10. That's what I want from you.
Okay. Well, I think I can make this adjustment on the fly, but I really part of me kind of wanted to just stack them 1 to 10 and not even look at it in a tier perspective. If I'm being honest, it kind of was a refreshing exercise.
No, that's fine. Mine are definitely in the correct order. It's not like I'm saying, so I got 4 tiers, but it's really 3. But I'll even go first for you to make it easy. This kind of is my first.
Wait, are you going to do all 10?
No, I'm doing my one. I'm doing my lowest tier. Lowest tier. So my number 10 quarterback is Jared Goff. My number 9 quarterback is Jalen Hurts. And my number 8 is CJ Stroud. That's my lowest tier. I have those 3 guys bunched together, and this is why. I think all those quarterbacks are capable of winning the Super Bowl, but they are not the carrier of their team. I think other parts of their teams have to get them there. They are good enough to execute, but they are not the driving force behind their team, but they are the top of the guys that aren't the driving force of their team. So CJ Stroud may be a little iffy there because I think he has a higher ceiling than the other 2, but from what we saw last year, he wasn't dragging a bad team above and beyond what they were. Their offense was pretty bad because they didn't have all the other pieces. So Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud, we're kind of calling this like the best game managers is kind of unfair, but the best game managers tier for me.
I think I have a tier. I have a tier named already. This is great. I'm working on the fly here. This is fun.
You're doing great. You're doing phenomenal.
I'll just say I think I have Stroud, Goff, and Hurts in my own little 4th tier, right? Like I think they're the back end of my top. They're in the back end of my my top 10. I went Stroud, Goff, Hurts, and I waffled really hard with all 3 of them in like what order I was going to stack them. I think Hurts I put as number 8 because of the Super Bowl. Goff's made it to a Super Bowl, although that wasn't really exactly the prime of his career.
That was shocked you put Hurts there.
You gotta show. I mean, honestly, here's the thing: when I went and looked at like the quarterbacks after like 7. Wasn't that excited about any of them,
Yeah.
I think, the way you have it, like you could make an argument for like, I'm excited about Stroud, but there's some steps back. I still think he deserves to be in the top 10. But he just had kind of a rough, there's a rough season, but I think it was mostly just like the situation around him. I think I think there was some challenges that he had to deal with that season, but I think in some big moments, some high leverage moments, he won a playoff game again, that's big time for him. So like credit to him there. And I don't know. I had Stroud, Goff, and Hurts as kind of my tier 4, if you will. And yeah, I think
that was your 10 through 8 as well. Exact names. Just
Ooh. Yes.
I think we're gonna have the same 10 guys, and that actually
chance. I think we'll see. We'll see.
If you have somebody not in my but that means you would have somebody in my next tier all the way out. That's what I'm saying.
There's like one name here that I wonder. There's one name in here that I wonder.
Ooh.
I wonder if you're going to have it. We'll find out.
Give me your next tier. Give me your tier 3. Give me your 7 to whatever.
7 to 5.
Okay, that's how I split mine up too.
And it's a combination of guys that have achieved the mountaintop, but maybe are on the way down, and players that are uber talented that have the ability to carry their football team. And be like I think what is it called? Trucks and wagons. Are you a truck? Or are you a wagon? I think these are guys that can be trucks.
Mm-hmm.
I have Stafford at 7. I have Matthew Stafford at 7. I have Justin Herbert at 6.
Okay.
And I have Jaden Daniels at number 5 in my tier 3.
We have the same 3rd tier, same names. Same names and the exact same thing. Yes, these guys are I think these guys are trucks, but trucks for the right team. They can only pull the right kind of trailer along with them. You got to have the right team built around them. But I do think that they can still be the best part of it. They can win you the big games and you need it, but they can't pull any trailer. They can't pull any team to that level. So I had Justin Herbert at 7, Stafford at 6, Daniels at 5. I went Stafford over Herbert because I still think Herbert's too robotic. I still think it has to be textbook for him, and I've seen Stafford be a gamer, so he just got the dog. He got the dog bump over Herbert for me. And then Daniels, I mean, it was a rookie year. I understand, but man, like every single step he passed, like every single test they kind of threw at him, even that Eagles game, like it wasn't really his fault that they lost in the playoffs. Like I had to put him here, and boy, I mean, if he takes a step forward versus if he doesn't CJ Stroud it, if he does the opposite of Stroud, where he takes a step forward in his second year and builds off that rookie year, he's going to be quickly flying up this list because like there wasn't a lot to poke holes into his game before.
And I'll be honest with you, I didn't feel great about Stafford versus Herbert. Like great, like very good arguments here, and like the ring and all that stuff. But like I do also wonder is like how much like like not that Stafford declined last year because that's definitely not the case. But like I think it is. I don't know if it's going to be the most graceful aging for Stafford either, right? Like that gives me a little bit of pause, So I kind of I'm betting on Herbert a little bit. Even though, playoff success has also kind of eluded him too. I have a name for the next tier, and I think these are going to be in the exact order.
Hold on. Do yes, I think we have the exact same 10 names, and like we just have a couple guys flip flop. So like this is Craig and I we had similar names, and we were very close on our list. But you and I have been a lot closer, especially with the tiers that we have it broken up into. Who was the name that you were unsure if I was going to have though? Who was the one guy that you were like, oh, I don't know if that'll make his top 10?
I could see you being like a Herbert hater.
Okay. I felt like a hater putting him at 7, but like then I was like, I don't know, man. Like I don't know.
Why?
Right? No, I know. I mean, I just kind of felt like it, but then I was like looking at my list. I'm like, well, I put Stafford over him because he's a dog, and then I put Daniels over him as a rookie, and I was like, I could see somebody being mad about that, but at the same time, like I think he's going to win a game better.
So you had a hint of like questioning whether or not Herbert should be 7, and I had a hint of questioning whether or not Herbert should be 6.
Yeah.
Hey, that's how that works, I guess. I mean, I think we have the right. I mean, like we're right there. We're right there. They're all in the same tier, right?
What's the name of your next tier? And what do you got?
The tier is called the Bridesmaids.
Okay.
Always the bridesmaid, never the bride. Burrow, Lamar, Allen in that order. 4-3-2. Burrow and I mean this. I don't even. We could just name redacted 4. Who shall not be named, and then Lamar and Allen. Okay. But it's the Bridesmaids tier.
That's fair. So you had Burrow, Jackson, Allen as your list. Well, we have okay. I have 2 tiers left as well. My third tier, my second tier, or it's my third. I got 5 tiers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh no, I got 4 tiers, but I have 3 names in my first tier. I have exactly 1 name in this tier, and I call it the fraud goal tier. It's just Joe Burrow. I have Joe Burrow by himself. He's not as good as the top 3. Don't care. He's not as good as Allen. He's not as good as Jackson. He's not as good as Mahomes, but he's clearly better than the Daniels and the Herberts and the Stafford. So I gave him his own tier. He is by himself at number 4. I couldn't move him any lower, but I don't think he belongs with the other guys. I don't think it's a big 4. I think it's a big 3, and Burrow is chasing after them in some kind of fishnet outfit.
Burrow's achieved more than both Lamar and Allen.
On the back of big loose coattails.
On the back of big loose coattails.
And Tyreek Hill turning the wrong way.
And really wasn't like the reason that team even won the AFC championship.
He threw like 1 touchdown in the second half of all those playoff games.
Joe Burrow stuff is so dumb because it's not like he went out.
Kicker went crazy.
Yeah, like McPherson. Okay. Congratulations on the Chiefs literally melting down in historic fashion. Good for you, Joe Burrow. Yeah. He didn't melt down because he's so cool and calm and collected and sitting on his couch in January every year.
It's not like he played great. So
it's not like he played great either. No, I think these are all guys that haven't been able to get over the proverbial hump, but have shown the talent to be that guy. And like, Lamar, Burrow, I think deserves to be in this tier for now with Lamar and Allen. I don't know. I still think he deserves to be in it with them, but I do waffle on it a little bit, candidly.
I almost put Lamar. So spoiler, Lamar's my number 3. I almost put Lamar in the same tier with Burrow and split it up into 2 guys, but Lamar continues to progress year over year. And as much as I still make jokes about him being a running back and not just a quarterback and not a great thrower. At least in the regular seasons, he does put all that behind him. He has thrown the ball. He has been an excellent passer the past 2 years, and he keeps getting better. I even thought 2 years ago it was still a little bit not gimmicky, but like I could see a path where it wasn't consistent. This past year, when he was just a pure passing, was pretty good. So like I finally elevated Lamar into that, that top tier. I got him away from Burrow, but I was close to putting those 2 together.
Some fun stats here from Kenneth Young. Joe Burrow is 14, 24, and 1 when his opponent scores 21 points. It also says Josh Allen is 22 and 26 in those scenarios. Lamar is 20 and 19, and Mahomes is 34 and 19. There's one tier and one tier alone, in my opinion, and it sounds like that's not going to be the case for you. So explain this tier 1 for you, Maddie.
Yeah, I have 3 names in my tier 1 here. So this is what we're working with now, right? We got 3 names here. I already spoiled it. We got Lamar Jackson coming in, over here at number 3. Oh no, we got to shift things around a little bit. Beep, 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 beep. We're moving. We got Lamar Jackson coming in here at number 3, as we can all see over here, right? Below that, though, you can notice 2 blanks over here. Okay. What order are we going to go with? How are we going to write this? Are we finally doing it? Are we finally going to take Patrick Mahomes out of the number 1 slot? Am I going to sit here in a Patrick Mahomes shirt and take him out of the number 1 slot and put Josh Allen, who outplayed him last year until the playoff game, who outplayed him the year before until the playoff game? Am I going to put him over Patrick Mahomes? The Bills are trying to do the same thing as the Chiefs. No, I'm not. We're putting him on number 1. My handwriting is even worse now because I don't want to knock over my whiteboard.
I don't know what's worse, your handwriting or your audio right now.
Oh, it was probably both. I didn't want to knock over my whiteboard. It's hanging on by a thread because I had to slide it. It worked a lot better only showing half of it last week. But yeah, we're putting Josh Allen at 2. We're putting Patrick Mahomes at number 1. At the end of the day, you got to beat him in the playoffs, right? You still got to beat him in the playoffs. It's close though. I put them all in 1 tier. This is like a big jump for Lamar Jackson for me. And like I said, I'm looking at a different camera now. Lamar Jackson took a big jump this last year for me just by being consistent and doing it over again for, the second time in a row, becoming a better passer. I had Allen creeping up over and closer and closer to Patrick Mahomes. It's right there though. Like I'm not about to put Josh Allen over Mahomes, but they belong in the same tier to me now. I can't be so, stubborn that I can say they're not in the same tier. I think Mahomes has had enough struggles as of late.
I'll name my tier. I just named my tier anyway, but my tier 1, but I think Josh Allen's only been to the AFC Championship game twice. In those 2 games, he's been outplayed by Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
The regular season has been undeniable, but the key moments he's got, and the key moments he hasn't been able to get over the hump. And Patrick Mahomes has outplayed him in the brightest moments. And at this point, all these quarterbacks' legacies, the bridesmaid tier and Patrick Mahomes, are being judged on a scale that doesn't really care about anything before January. And I think that's really where all these quarterbacks are. They've achieved great success. 3 of them have won MVPs, and then also Joe Burrow is a football player. But I think there's the judgments don't really even start until January, and like the last 2 seasons with the Chiefs, like I don't know. I continue, like we talked about this, like figuring out what matters in the regular season for this team. Are they just trying to peak at the right time and just play this brand of football that works? And Patrick Mahomes is the best in the world at just being an adaptive, player to whatever his football team needs. And that's why he's 34 and 19 when other teams score 21 points. When they have to put the foot on the gas, they do. When they have to protect the football, they do. And they went remarkable stretches without, turning the football over. And he was a big contributing factor in that because he touched the ball almost every play except for when Andy Reid wants to get weird. So Yeah, I don't know. I still think Mahomes is in his own tier, and that's why I call it the 3 names or 3 rings, 1 name tier, and that is Patrick, LeVon, Mahomes. It's actually 3 rings, 3 names. Patrick, LeVon, Mahomes. It's really what it is. Yeet.
So, all right, I gotta ask you a question. The past 2 seasons, the past 2 AFC Championship games, if you swap Josh Allen and Patrick Mahomes, you think the Buffalo Bills win?
Yes.
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
I do. Yeah, I think yes. I think that is the case. And I love Josh Allen.
We know.
Yeah, you guys, this is Craig says we really thought we could do 2 positions in a single show.
That was crazy.
This is
we were
fun.
like 53 minutes.
I love this so much more than going week by week in the schedule. You have no idea.
Oh,
we should replace the gas station scale with this next year.
Absolutely not. There's enough room for both, obviously. But there will be a new scale next year. You guys got tired of the gas stations. Good. Now you're getting food again. Maybe you'll quit complaining about the food scale now that you know how bad it can get.
We're gonna do medium steak chains, I guess, or mid-level steak chains, I think is what we're gonna do next.
Complain about the food again and see what happens next. You got gas stations last time you complained about the food scale, chat. See what happens if you do it again. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that we need, Patrick Mahomes being 1, I think is still defendable. We're obviously Chiefs fans, so there's going to always be a hint of bias, and I try to remove as much of it as I can. But like at the end of the day, one of these quarterbacks keeps beating the others in the playoffs and the games that matter, obviously besides the meltdown against the Fraudgles. And like, hey, we mentioned it. So like it's still defendable to have him at 1. I do have a hard time if we're just judging the quarterbacks based on their play straight up, of not putting other guys in the same tier, because I do think the other quarterbacks have been playing better and better while Mahomes is kind of leveled out. Now, again, when they play each other in the big games, he has outplayed Lamar Jackson. He has outplayed Josh Allen. Like he's outplaying all these guys in the playoffs. But I do think that the gap from how good he is playing all year long, playing quarterback, and how they are playing quarterback all year long is a lot closer than it was, say, 2 years ago. So I did put them in the same tier. I do think. Oh, go ahead.
Well, do you think that
getting out of this view now?
That's good for everyone. Actually, I'm kind of enjoying it. I'm not gonna lie. Oh, wow.
What?
That camera work was just something I did not expect you to be able to do.
What do you mean? You weren't paying attention when I switched to the whiteboard, huh?
I was writing stuff most likely.
Yeah, you were looking somewhere else when I switched it. You had no reaction when I did to the whiteboard.
So, I got distracted. Okay. Do you? I feel. I think I've said this before.
Medium rare camera change.
I do feel like. The process is different for Mahomes, the same way the process is different for Brady towards the end of his career. Like how they treat the regular season, what they worry about, what they prioritize. Like I'm not saying it's an excuse for not playing clean football, but this team is, back to back Super Bowls, trying to figure things out, working on the fly, working with restrictions and constraints and, some of that kind of stuff with regards to his contract and some of the contracts they've, signed to keep this thing together. It's work through the regular season, continue to win football games, play a style of football, and then play the style of football that matters to this team. I just as a little side comment, I just wonder how much that plays into it. It's kind of like how Tom was. Tom found the best way to play football in the postseason when it matters, and they use the regular season to figure out. So having the and continually chasing the 1 seed, like all these teams are continually chasing the 1 seed for Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs. It's like, I don't know, man. I just there's enough context there that like I get it. I know it's been ugly and it's not been fun to watch, but there's also been a lot of like they just figure it out when it matters the most, and they did it all the way to the Super Bowl again this year.
But like, how are we judging that? Like, I don't think I can give you magical credit for looking bad, but saying, oh, you don't care if you looked bad.
Yeah.
Like I can't credit that. And so we keep using team accomplishments. And I do think I don't think QB wins is a thing, but I even said this when Brady wins. Some guys do just kind of win. They show up the most when it matters. So QB wins by itself isn't a thing, but there is a lot to a quarterback being the main part that results in wins of Super Bowls. Not always, but there are times. And I think Brady clearly had that. Patrick Mahomes clearly has that. So we have used team success to bump up Patrick Mahomes. Here is their point totals and their playoff games, the games that matter. These games that we are saying are the only thing that matter of the past 2 seasons. 22, not great. 32, very good. 23, not great. 25, okay, but not great. 17, not great. 27, okay, again, not great, but fine. 26, okay, but fine. Like, what? I don't know. It's not like the offensive performances in the playoffs have been spectacular. He's doing enough, which is what you need to do and why he's still number one, but it's not like he's going out there and lighting up the playoff games either. He's just doing enough to beat the other team, and that's a skill. And that's, again, why number one. But I don't know if I can say average. I mean, what is that average? Probably in the low 20s. Low to mid 20s is the average over those 2 games. Like, I don't know if I can sit here and stand on a soapbox and say he's had this team averaging in the 24 points a game in the playoffs. That's clearly a tier above everybody else.
If you remove the fandom, do you think the Buffalo Bills would trade Josh Allen for Patrick Mahomes? Removing the fandom?
No, I do not. I don't think the team that knows Josh Allen and has a team built around him and
I meant the fans, but okay.
Oh, so as a fan, would they build? See, I don't know. Can you would a neutral fan say I want to? No, I don't think so. Actually, I think we hit Patrick Mahomes fatigue. So I think that a completely neutral fan saying which quarterback would make the Bills a better team. I honestly think that because Josh Allen's career in the mental space of neutral fans is going up, and Mahomes right now is either flatlining or going down based on what they've seen, I do not think they would make that trade.
You need to explain this potential changes in 2025 for me, Maddie. What are we doing here?
Well, so this is Edges had no Chiefs, right, in the top 10. So we had a little bit more to talk about, like who was the best, which Chief was the closest, how did they get there? We already talked a lot about the Chiefs here and Patrick Mahomes. So let's talk first about Patrick Mahomes. I think we've done this conversation a little bit. How does he move out of his own tier, or how does he move out of number one for you?
I think we've had this conversation almost exactly at one point. I think one of those guys got to win a ring to get into the conversation. And even then I'll probably be a little bit bitter and say, we'll get 2 more.
Okay.
But I think a ring will get me talking. Someone else winning one will get me talking. One of the bridesmaids.
What
Jane Daniels.
What if Lamar Jackson beats Patrick Mahomes, then Josh Allen beats him and wins the Super Bowl? Josh Allen doesn't beat Mahomes. He gets a ring. Does he get into Mahomes' tier? Does he get above him? How does that work for you?
Because Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson trade blows all the time to get the chance to lose to Patrick Mahomes in the AFC Championship. So it's just whatever.
But I'm saying Lamar beats him.
Sure.
And then Allen wins the Super Bowl. So is he in the tier of Mahomes?
Nope.
Neither would be in the tier.
Nah, I don't think so.
To get into his tier,
sorry,
they would have
Allen, just whoever wins the Super Bowl would get in the tier potentially.
Oh, okay. So
I'm not
Allen
giving both.
potentially
I'm not giving both. No.
Okay.
I'm
just curious.
Neither of these guys has won an AFC Championship game. Mahomes or not. So I don't care what order you do it in. Like you got to do both, like Mahomes has. And I'll hear it for Allen. I'll hear it for Jackson if one of them gets a ring. But I'm not just going to give you credit for getting to the AFC Championship again and not making it. Like you don't earn that.
Even if beating Mahomes, I got it. Okay, hypothetically, either one of them wins the MVP again, back-to-back for Allen, or 2 and 3 years for Lamar. Probably should have been 3 in a row. Then beats Mahomes and wins a Super Bowl. Do they go above him? If they get MVP, beat him, and Super Bowl, and let's say their level of play is about the same as what it was this past year, where they clearly were better than Mahomes, hence the MVP all year long, then beat him, then win a Super Bowl.
I'll put him in the same tier. I probably still won't give Mahomes the nod. I won't give him the nod over Mahomes. I'm sorry. That's probably fan, but 3 rings, man. Like that's you can point to 3 rings forever, and there's really not a good argument against it.
I think for me, I would put in that scenario, I would definitely put whoever did it over him. The 2019 ring to me has nothing to do with how Patrick Mahomes is playing quarterback right now.
Sure.
This isn't a greatest of all time ranking to me. This is who's playing quarterback best now. And if they go the third straight year outplaying him in the regular season, and then they are finally able to show up when the pressure's on, it's not like the Chiefs are blowing them out in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
The Chiefs have won a 1-score game against them every single time, like both those quarterbacks. So if they outplay him again in the regular season, then in that playoff matchup, they outplay him and finally come out on the winning side and then go get the ring. I would have a hard time making the argument that they are not playing quarterback better than Patrick Mahomes next year. So yeah, I think I would make the switch. I already have them in the same tier, but I think I would make the switch from Mahomes being the best quarterback to one of them if that happens this year.
We aren't talking enough about Jaden Daniels. If he goes out and wins the Super Bowl this year, he jumps the bridesmaids immediately.
Woo. I mean, like I would have a hard time arguing. I would have a hard time arguing with putting him in the tier. I would have to see it. Like I got to see what it looks like with him. And not that I think that anything was gimmicky about their offense, but it definitely is a little bit of an offbeat offense. Like a lot of it's a pitcher out there that's throwing a lot of junk, and it's really good junk, but it's a lot of junk. And so like I just would have to see how it looks. But if it looks clean again and he does that kind of stuff, yeah, he probably gets himself right into that top tier and starts getting himself into a conversation.
Yeah. I don't know if there's any like big material changes outside of that in my top 10. Like, I mean, I think there was a couple guys on the fringe, but I don't really.
Stafford could hard fall off. He's at that age.
Yeah, and I don't think he's gonna end. Like I said, I don't think he'll end gracefully. Like I'm not like Caleb Williams has the talent to jump in there if him and Ben Johnson work out well. Like if you told me that worked out well in Chicago, like I wouldn't be stunned by that. Never Bo Nix under any situation whatsoever. A Dak resurgence wouldn't surprise me either, right? Like
Dak would have been on the close of my guys missing out here.
Dak was close. Baker was not really close, but I felt like I should at least think about it.
So here's two guys randomly that I had close. I don't think they can get in there, but Jordan Love and Geno Smith. Now the trick that I have with them though, they can't go in this. This is orange. You can't tell. They can't go in this orange tier of Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, CJ Stroud. Their play style doesn't allow them to be a trailer. They will never be trailered. They are going to force their way into being a truck. So they would have to take a significant jump and get up here. Like that's why the tier system to me is how I kind of did it. They can't be a trailer. They have to be a truck.
Are they in the Joe Flacco have to put them in a tier if they go on a run? Like it's like because like Flacco goes on an all-time run and wins a Super Bowl. And we got to have the question if Joe Flacco's elite. Is it just like that? Or is this the tier of guys that like they have the talent to go on a 4-game run that is just, enough for them to go out and win a ring?
Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like the way that they play, if they do that though, like if they go on that kind of run, they are going to be the reason why, because that's how they play football, right? Geno's going to sit there in the pocket, take massive hits, and just yeet the ball all around the field. Jordan Love has never seen a one-on-one. He's never seen a coverage he's scared of, right? So yeah, I think I think those two guys are on the outside for me. Trevor Lawrence, I guess he could break back in, but like I have a ton of doubts. What truck is the Daniel Stafford Herbert tier?
Trevor Lawrence is a sneaky kind of like, hey, him and Caleb Williams could really take big steps and turn things around kind of guys. Like I do feel like both of them are with really qualified offensive minds.
I haven't seen enough from Trevor Lawrence to even remotely feel good about it.
I didn't say I feel good about it.
Yeah,
I said they have.
I know some in the like NFL coverage, and not even the hipsters, just people that are really deep into NFL film. The coaching people, NFL film people, still really love what they see from Trevor Lawrence, and like I get the talent. I think we're holding on a little too hard to that best quarterback we've seen since Andrew Luck pedigree. In the NFL, like there's flashes, but there's also a lot of not flashes. And so there's just too much. So yeah, just the guys that could break into this to me really have come down to like Geno Smith, Jordan Love having massive years. Dak can definitely slip back in. And what's good for Dak is if he's healthy, he fits great into this last year, which is where it's going to be the easiest to get in. Like, hey, I threw the ball to CeeDee Lamb and George Pickens, and they did great for me. Like, awesome. You got pulled along and you did everything you needed to do. And that's right in Dak's skill set. So I think he's a good one to get in there.
I feel like this is Jared Goff's last year in the tier.
Especially with the coaching changes and stuff.
Exactly. Yeah. And I think it's sink or swim moment for Jared Goff, and incredible camera transition again from Matt Lane. I feel like Goff is like, this might be it for him. And if it's not it for him, then he deserves a ton of credit, right? Like, it's like, oh, okay, Jared, I was unfamiliar with your game, even though I'm listing you as one of the 10 best quarterbacks in football. You're firmly tier 4 for life. Like,
there's no
tier
growth
4 for life, Jared Goff.
There's growth for CJ Stroud out of that tier.
Yes.
There's maybe even some growth for Jalen Hurts. Like, if that team ever can't rely on the running game and the defense, and then Jalen Hurts still produces and wins. Like, I mean, listen, you've been big on this, and like, this isn't a shot. Like, you've been big during this whole thing on like, hey, team wins and success matters. Jalen Hurts has now been to 2 out of 3 Super Bowls and he's won 1. So like, if it's team success, and no, I'm saying if he does it without them relying on the run game or something, there's room for him to grow. Jared Goff, we've seen enough. We know he's not growing. Hurts could get out of this tier. CJ Stroud could definitely get out of this tier. Dak and Goff probably ain't getting out of this tier ever.
No, the tier 4 is purgatory a little bit.
It might as well be called the Goff.
I like it. Purgatory. That's going to do it for
in
this
the show,
episode
Springer.
of the KC Laboratory. Thank you all so much for listening, watching, supporting. We love you. We appreciate you. We'll catch you later. Beat it. Let's go.
He said purg.